Welcome to Training for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, also known as VITA. Session 10, Schedule CA 540. This training is presented by the Franchise Tax Board's VITA trainers. Hi, I'm Yovan.
And I'm Thalia.
The Franchise Tax Board is proud to offer this training series for the upcoming filing season. We have created these training videos with California VITA volunteers in mind. This is the 10th of 13 sessions, and we hope you find them helpful as you work on your VITA certification.
If you have any questions, please contact your local VITA coordinator. You may also reach out to FTB's VITA team at 800-522-5665 or by email at volunteercoordinator@ftb.ca.gov.
First, let's cover some background. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act was signed into law on July 4, 2025, introducing both permanent and temporary changes to federal, but it did not change California income tax law. As a result, there continue to be differences between California and federal law. When preparing California income tax returns, you will use the Schedule CA 540 to make adjustments to the taxpayer's federal AGI and itemized deductions using California law. The taxpayers are not required to claim the standard deduction for California, even if they claim it for federal. Due to the increase in the federal standard deduction, some taxpayers may not have enough deductions to itemize for federal. This does not mean they won't have enough for California. In other words, some taxpayers may use the standard deduction for federal and itemize on their state return. Make sure to input all of the taxpayers' itemized deductions into TaxSlayer and allow the software to determine what will benefit the taxpayer for California. Once you have filled out the federal information in TaxSlayer under itemized deductions, the information should flow directly to the California return. If the taxpayer's itemized deductions are higher than the standard deduction for California, TaxSlayer will automatically create the Schedule CA 540 for you. In this session, we will explain the Schedule CA 540 line by line for better understanding of the differences between federal and California law. We will be using the current draft of the Schedule CA 540 since the final Schedule CA was not available at the time of this recording. There could be slight changes still to come.
Let's take a closer look at Schedule CA 540. Part 1. Income Adjustment Schedule. In Section A, lines 1 through 7, and Section B, lines 1 through 7, and 9A, enter the same amount you entered on Federal Form 1040 or Form 1040 SR, lines 1 through 7, and Federal Schedule 1, Form 1040, Additional Income and Adjustments to Income, lines 1 through 9. For line 10, total, combine the amounts in Section A, lines 1Z through 7, and Section B, lines 1 through 7. Section C, Adjustments to Income, lines 11 through 18 and 20 to 25. Enter the amounts from Federal Schedule 1, Form 1040, lines 11 through 18 and 20 to 25. Lines 19A and B. On line 19A, enter the amount from Federal Schedule 1, Form 1040. On line 19B, enter the Social Security number or individual taxpayer identification number and the last name of the alimony recipient to whom you paid alimony. Line 26, add lines 11 through 23 and 25. Lines 27 is the total. Subtract line 26 from line 10. This amount should match the amount entered on Federal Form 1040 or 1040 SR, line 11.
Column B and Column C, Subtractions and Additions. Use these columns to enter subtractions and additions to the federal amounts in Column A that are necessary because of differences between California and federal law. Enter all amounts as positive numbers unless instructed otherwise. Part 2. Adjustments to federal itemized deductions. Column A. Federal amounts. On lines 1 through 16, enter the same amounts from Federal Form Schedule A 1040, lines 1 through 16. Line 17. Add line 4, 7, 10, 14, 15, and 16 in columns A, B, and C. Line 18. Combine total from line 17, column A, less column B, plus column C. Column B and column C. Subtractions and additions. Use these columns to enter subtractions and additions to the federal amounts in column A that are necessary due to differences between California and federal law. Enter all amounts as positive numbers unless instructed otherwise. Job expenses and certain miscellaneous deductions. Federal has suspended the deduction for miscellaneous itemized deductions subject to a 2% floor, which means anything over 2% of the taxpayer's AGI. Lines 19 to 21. California does not conform. Remember, this does not include unreimbursed impairment-related work expenses. Line 19. Unreimbursed employee expenses. California does not conform to the suspension of this deduction. This includes union dues, job travel expenses, job education, etc. You will complete Form 2106 using California law. For additional information, refer to Schedule CA 540 instructions. Line 20. Tax preparation fees. Enter the fees the taxpayer paid for preparation, including fees paid for filing electronically. Debit and credit card payment convenience fees should be entered on line 21 instead of this line. Line 21. Other expenses. You will enter the total amount paid to generate or collect taxable income. For example, investment expenses, safe deposit box, etc. For more information, refer to Schedule CA 540 instructions.
Line 27. Other adjustments. Please refer to Schedule CA 540 instructions for more information, since this is where you will put fewer common deductions, such as adoption-related expenses, mortgage interest credit, and non-taxable income expenses. These other allowed expenses are not subject to the 2% floor. Line 29. California Itemized Deductions. This is where you will determine if the taxpayer's federal AGI from Form 540, line 13, is more than the amount listed on Schedule CA 540, line 29. If 540, line 13, is less than the figure shown, you will transfer the amount on line 28 to line 29. If the amount shown on 540, line 13, is higher than the figure shown, you will need to complete the itemized deduction worksheet in the instructions section of the Schedule CA 540 to determine the amount to enter on line 29. This information should automatically flow from the entries made in the federal section of tax layer. Line 30. Amount from line 29 or standard deduction. You will enter the larger of line 29 or the taxpayer's standard deduction. Then you will transfer line 30 to Form 540, line 18. This information should automatically flow from the entries made in the federal section of tax layer. Schedule CA 540 is now complete.
You have now completed the 10th of 13 VITA training sessions. All sessions are available on the Franchise Tax Board website at ftb.ca.gov. Again, If you have questions, please contact your local VITA coordinator. You may also reach out to FTB's VITA team at 800-522-5665 or by email at volunteercoordinator@ftb.ca.gov. Keep practicing and thanks for watching.